What's up guys, hope you're all doing well and keeping safe and healthy. It's Aaron from Rudy Visuals, and in today's video we're reviewing the Moza Slypod E motorized slider and monopod. So see you after that intro. So before we begin, full disclosure, Moza did send us one of these to review, but this is not a sponsored video in any kind of way. So as always, this will be an independent and unbiased review. Right, so what exactly is this? Basically a slider. It creates movement for your camera, allowing you to shoot subtle, smooth and steady camera movements, which really helps to elevate your video quality. So you often see these kinds of movements in commercials, TV and film, but you probably don't actually notice it. It's very, very subtle. And with products like the Slypod E, now even YouTubers and content creators can get those kind of high-end looking shots for videos as well. In particular, we really love using sliders for our product reviews. They are similar to gimbals in a way, but more for adding some movement to static shots rather than smoothing out handheld shots. So gimbals are amazing, but they can be a little bit cumbersome at times, and no matter how good your ninja walk is, a slider can be a more appropriate tool for when you need to be more accurate and precise, like for macro shots or product shots. While there have been a number of motorized sliders on the market, they've been priced fairly expensively, but now there are more and more affordable options, and thanks to Moza we also have this, which is their new Slypod E, which I feel is more aimed at budget conscious filmmakers as well as content creators and YouTubers. Now price wise, this starts from about $300, that's £300-ish on Amazon UK for us, and for just the slider itself with a few different kit options as well depending on what you might need. For example, you do actually have to pay for this pan and tilt head separately, and you'll also need a decent tripod as well to make the best of the slider. I personally would not use this slider with a cheap or bad tripod. Just don't even bother, don't think about it. It's still definitely not what I would call cheap, but considering how expensive these can be for higher end models, you do realize what an appealing option the Moza Slypod E actually is, especially for the kinds of shots that you're able to get with the Slypod E, which you just can't get without using a slider. So now in terms of the size and weight, it's about 60 centimeters long and just under 90 centimeters tall when it's fully extended. So you get about 30 centimeters of movement. It weighs just about under a kilo, and overall it feels very, very lightweight and sturdy, and that carbon fiber body feels very, very high quality indeed. It's also weatherproof and wear resistant, so it's probably usable in, I'd say, light rain, a bit of snow and windy conditions, things like that. I would definitely feel confident using this in most outdoor situations. The build quality is exceptional, and just to give you an idea of how strong this thing is, this is me literally trying to stop the movement with all of the strength I can muster, and it's just super rigid and super hard. You also get this very good quality rainproof carry bag, which is a nice little bonus as well. In terms of the payload, it can handle up to 9 kilograms vertically and 4 kilograms horizontally, which is more than enough for most DSLR and mirrorless cameras. Even with a big chunky lens, as you can see here, it's got no problem handling our Sony a7 III with a big 70-200 on it. Now, traditionally, I have actually shied away from using sliders because they can be quite complicated to set up and use. But thankfully the Slypod E has a very simple and easy to use design. It literally has a power button and 2 more buttons to control the actual slider to move it out and in. You can then hold them down to change the speed of the slider, so it's very, very straightforward to use. But if you download the Moza Master app, this gives you some extra control where you can get more creative with your shots. It basically turns your phone into like a remote control for the slider, and using the app you can have more control of the movement. You can set exact points, acceleration, there's creative modes, gives you more options like adding paths, there's a step time lapse, gradient step time lapses, again, all very straightforward and simple to use. It literally just took me a couple of minutes to work out what everything did with a bit of trial and error. So here's some of the results of the kinds of shots that you're able to get using the Slypod E. I do think that the results pretty much speak for themselves. It's definitely subtle, but it just adds that little bit of production value and quality that you just can't get on handheld, on a tripod, or even with a gimbal. Speaking of gimbals, you could also add in a gimbal to your setup and use it alongside the Slypod E just to give you some even more options and flexibility, which is definitely a great option for gimbal users. The battery is built into the slider, and this can be charged via USB-C or powered with a portable battery pack as well. I found I could get about 2 hours of usage with it, and charging it took about an hour and a half-ish. Honestly, the only problem is the noise of the motor. So as you can hear, yeah, it's pretty loud. So this isn't a problem for us, as we would mostly use this for B-roll shots where we don't need audio, or something like music videos when the lockdown finally ends. But if you're recording dialogue or anything that needs audio, then this will definitely be a deal breaker for you, and you may need to look elsewhere. I feel like the Slypod E wasn't really designed for filmmakers recording dialogue anyway, so this isn't an issue with the product itself. And like I said, not a problem for us, as we'd mostly be using this for like B-roll. So in summary, I think that the Slypod E is a really useful tool, a great useful addition to your filmmaking arsenal. I do think that the results do speak for themselves really, and it will allow you to capture those shots that you just couldn't get without it. Very subtle, but just adds a bit of extra polish and production value to your videos, and all for what I think is a very reasonable price. And it's, for me, built to last. This thing, it could be used as like some kind of a anti-thief deterrent weapon or something like that. And I think now that we've seen the kinds of shots we can get using it, it's going to be very difficult to go back to not having a slider. If you're a filmmaker, video content creator, YouTuber, this could be exactly what you're looking for to add that extra bit of polish to your videos. Okay guys, well that's pretty much the end of this review. Do let us know if you have any questions at all. A big thank you to Moza for sending us this to review. Really appreciate that, guys. So shout outs to you guys. Any questions, you can leave them down there in the comment section below, and follow us on socials. And if you like this video, give it a like, subs if you loved it. And as always, I'll see you on the next one, where hopefully I won't have a cold. All right, peace out guys.